Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible.
Welcome to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Hello. How's it going today? I hope you're having a wonderful day so far and a wonderful week. Hope you're feeling positive and healthy and ready to create the life that you want to live. I am feeling pretty good, I have to say. Life's been moving along quite well, even with all the chaotic, crazy things going on in our world. I'm just finding so many reasons to smile these days, and doing these episodes is definitely on my top list of reasons to smile. I just absolutely love being able to share all this information with you guys and talk about things that I'm passionate about, that make me happy, that have helped me create the life I want to live, and hopefully it can help you create the life you want to live. And I hope you realize how much I learn just from doing these episodes myself. You know, it's just all of the research and things that I do, you know, it's so beneficial to my life as well. I hope it is as beneficial to yours when I share all this information. But I just feel super fortunate to be able to have a platform where I'm able to talk about things that matter to me and that I think, you know, can benefit other people's lives in so many different ways. And I love getting inspired for an episode from something that's going on in my life. And today I want to talk about surrendering to the I don't know. And that's because this whole year of my life has been such a roller coaster, and it's almost my birthday, so that's kind of what's inspired today's episode of surrendering to the I don't know, which might not make sense yet, but it will later on in the episode. I just feel like I am at a point in my life of I don't know, and I feel like I've been at that point in my life for quite some time. And at the beginning of this year, I had a really, really hard time accepting that I didn't know what my next step was or where my life was going to take me. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't know where I was going to go next. And throughout this entire year, I've been on such a roller coaster journey that it's now brought me, you know, to a way happier and better place, mentally and physically. But I realized that I still have no idea what I'm doing or what's next, or you know, where my life is going to go. I feel like at the beginning of the year, I literally had no idea. I had no idea what I wanted. I had no vision. I wanted to just try hard to get somewhere, because I wanted to know so badly, to the point where I made myself even more miserable trying to figure it out. Like, you know, it was not okay for me to not know what was next. And I feel like a lot of people can understand that and can relate to that feeling of not knowing what's next and not feeling okay with that, because I was definitely at a place in that point in my life a year ago. I'm still at that same place, but I have a completely different mindset to the whole I don't know and surrendering to the unknown and to the I have no idea what the next step of my life is. And I just feel so different about it now than I did a year ago. And don't get me wrong, like this entire year I have definitely found a path. I have definitely found a little bit more clear vision of kind of the direction I want to go, but I still don't know exactly what's going to be down this path. I kind of was off a beaten path for quite some time. I was just in the wilderness. I had no idea what was going on, okay? I wasn't really on a pathway. I didn't really know what direction I wanted to go. And throughout this entire year, yes, I have definitely found more direction in my life. I've definitely found things that I'm passionate about and things that I love. But I think I have found a lot of those things by surrendering to I don't know. And by surrendering to the whole what if and the unknown and the uncertainty of life that we experience. And I think, it's definitely pushed me to grow even further because we've been placed in such a weird time with this pandemic and not knowing, what's next, what's tomorrow going to look like. Are we going to be able to go back to our normal lives? Am I going to be able to go back to work or continue my school path? Or, what's going to happen next? Like, am I going to be able to hang out with my friends on a Friday night again? Like, there's been so much uncertainty in the past few months. There's been so much I don't know, and it's really terrifying. And it's just, now I've started to do so much reflection, especially since it's coming up to my birthday now. I'm really reflecting on the past year of my life. And the past year of my life has been filled with I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Okay? I mean it. Really have no idea. And it really scared me at first, but now I'm in such a different mindset to the I don't know and the uncertainty of life that it gets me so excited now. And so today I want to talk a little bit about my journey of where I was a year ago and how, the feelings I had to I don't know to now the feelings I have to the whole I don't know uncertainty part of life now, because, I'm definitely in a different place. But the most important thing is that I have a completely different mindset. I have a completely different outlook on the whole uncertainty thing, the whole I don't know what my next step is. And it's really made a huge difference in my mental health and how I feel about myself and how I feel about my life. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point of really kind of appreciating my life to the point that I do right now. I never quite understood what this was all about. I never quite understood what life was all about. I still don't understand what life is all about, but I'm trying to figure it out. And doing this podcast and talking to you about things that I'm passionate about and things that have helped me in my life and things that I know help others, proven tips and tricks that have actually helped myself and helped others create the life that they want to live. And that's so exciting to me. And even though I don't know what my next step is, I have really taken the moment to look back at this past year and just been like, holy crap, look at all the things I've learned. Even in the midst of so much uncertainty, I've grown so much. And I hope that I helped other people grow in so many different ways, especially through this podcast. And so today's all about surrendering to I don't know, because life is really beautiful and it's taken me a long time to see that. And it's taken me a long time to see the beauty in I don't know. If you caught a recent episode of this podcast of finding the beauty in everyday life, I talk a lot about finding things that you already love and finding new ways to love them and to appreciate them. And I think I've really just learned to appreciate the whole I don't know thing, which sounds ridiculous and scary because not knowing what's happening next in your life is terrifying. And at one point I just felt like I had to have everything figured out. And I'm young still. I am still just, I have so much life ahead of me, which is super exciting to me now, which, before I just wanted to grow up so quickly. I just wanted to have everything figured out. I just wanted to have my job and a house and a family and a dog, and I just wanted to have it all set for me and organized. And I am the type of person that I plan every single thing I do. I like control of my life. And so when I have been in such an uncertain time and space, that means I'm not in control. And that's, I think, what has bothered me the most, or what did bother me the most about the whole I don't know what's next, is because I feel out of control. And I don't like being out of control in my own life. That is just so terrifying to me. And it was really, 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 really terrifying to me a year ago, where I put myself in a miserable mindset. And I think a lot of people do this because we put so much pressure on ourselves to have a career path, or to know what's next, to know what we want, in a relationship, in our friendships, in our career, in our personal life, in our family and health, and what we want on an everyday basis. And it's just, we put so much pressure in knowing that I think it takes out the joy of not knowing. And I've just really been able to peel back some layers of myself and my life to find the beauty in I don't know. And I hope today's episode is going to help you find the beauty in your I don't know, in your uncertainty, because there will always, always, always be points in your life where you're going to have no idea what is next. And that is terrifying, but it can also be extremely exciting, and it can make your life so much better, because when you're at that point in your life, you're at that crossroad of, I have no idea what's going to happen next. That means you're at a point where there's opportunities are endless. Seriously, the sky is the limit. Life is limitless. Like, you have no idea where you're going to go. And as scary as that is, I think that's just so much more exciting. And I think it's something that people need to embrace a lot more. And I've learned to embrace the uncertainty. And I think during this whole pandemic, we've all been forced to embrace a little bit more uncertainty. So maybe you kind of have a little bit of a grasp of your I don't know. You know, definitely at first it was a big, what the hell is going on? And then now over the past couple months, I feel like we've almost got comfortable with this new normal. And I find that this new normal is an I don't know, because we don't know when things are going to open up. We don't know sometimes when we can go back to our jobs or to our regular life, or when we can hug our friends and family again. And I think over the past few months, we've all kind of adapted to that and found this new normal within it, which has made it a little bit more easy. So today I want to talk about finding finding the comfort in I don't know, and finding the comfort in and the beauty in the what's going to happen next, because we don't need to know our next step to be happy or to feel ready for anything. Like, who says you have to know what's next to be ready for what's next? That sounds kind of silly, I know, but it's true to me, because I never felt ready, because I never felt like I knew what my next step was. And I still don't know what my next step is right now, but I feel more ready than ever. I feel like I can tackle any I don't know moment that's come thrown at me, and that's super, super exciting. So today I'm going to be sharing all of this information with you, and I'm really excited about it. So it's time for a little bit of a break, but don't go anywhere. We're going to jump right into a little bit more about my journey, a little bit things that I've learned over the past year, and things that I think will help you find the beauty in I don't know, and how we can surrender to the unknown, because it really is a wonderful thing. Okay, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Okay, so today we're talking about surrendering to I don't know, not knowing your next step, and how to actually enjoy uncertainty, which is, it sounds probably crazy to a lot of people, because how are you supposed to enjoy not knowing? But there's just so many beautiful things in not knowing what's next that, I just want to talk about. I'm just so excited to talk about. But the first thing that I think I should talk about today is just understanding what surrender is not. Because when we're surrendering to I don't know, that does not mean that we are failing, or that we have been defeated, or it's a punishment, or anything like that. A decision to actually let go of all this control and just surrender to I don't know is actually such a huge accomplishment within our mind. Like, that is our brains, like, just by nature, our mind tries to control everything that it comes in contact with. That is literally human nature. And this is because it's trying to keep us safe. It's trying to keep us happy or make us happy. And it's trying to make our lives better. So we are constantly overanalyzing every single thing that we do. Okay, what's next? What am I going to, like, even simple things. What am I going to eat for dinner? We wake up in the morning. What am I going to eat for dinner? You know? It's what's going to happen next? What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to wear today? All these different questions that we ask. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And that's just how we're trained as humans. It just happens. It's normal. It's natural. Everyone kind of works that way. And our brain is trying to protect us. And for me, I've always had this mindset of I need to know exactly what I'm doing at exactly the time or else I'm going to lose my mind. And my mother would actually tell you a story about when I was little and I was younger in school, and I would get thrown off because if my school would throw an assembly in the middle of the day, and I would be really upset because that wasn't planned in my day, in my head. I didn't go to school expecting to have a 2-hour assembly, and that would throw me off for the day, which sounds so weird at such a young age, but for me, I just always liked knowing exactly what was happening next and, like, what my day was going to look like. And I'm still that way today. Like, I still plan out a daily planner literally every single day almost. I say, like, yeah, pretty much every single day. The night before, like, I will plan my to-do list and the things I need to accomplish, and most of the time, I will literally plan it by hour to hour. It used to be minute by minute. Like, I'm talking wake up 6 a.m., brush teeth at 6:05. Like the whole, like, literally minute by minute, I would plan my day. I have grown out of that a little bit more, but don't get me wrong, I am still constantly planning my day. And I am the type of friend, too, that when I make plans with people, like, I need to know them in advance. I need to know what's going to be happening on my Friday night or my Saturday night or whatever it is, because I just like to be organized. And that has been my biggest struggle with surrendering to I don't know, is not having that organization in my life, because I like to know what's next. I like to know what's happening. And I've had to let go of that, which has been the hardest thing for me, because I've been such a control freak for my whole life, and it's control in my own life. I try to control what I'm doing at every single moment, but then I have found myself in the past year in so many ruts of how am I supposed to know what's happening next? And I just came to the point where I had to let go of my control, and I just had to let life happen. And not something that came easy to me, to just let life happen. But my biggest and pretty much my only tip that I'm going to say to you today is be present. Be present in your life. Like, that is the biggest tip to surrendering to I don't know, is being present. And the way that I have become more present and aware of myself actually is self-reflection and taking the time to actually think about myself and think about my day and think about the things that I want to feel out of life and the things that I want out of life. And that has made the biggest difference for me. I am not somebody that has always been in the present. I'm always looking to my next step, where a lot of people are. But I came to a crossroad in my life where, okay, I kind of found a little bit of a pathway, or I'm getting closer to a pathway, but now this pathway is completely outside of my comfort zone. It's completely new. So how am I supposed to know what's going to happen next? How am I supposed to know what's a little bit down the road, right? You don't. And that freaked me out to the point where I made myself miserable because I couldn't control things. And so the first thing that I tried to do is identify the things I could and could not control. And the list of things I could not control was a lot bigger than the things that I could control. And I had to kind of grasp my mind around that. I had to understand that that was okay, that list of things I could not control, it is okay to be longer than your list you can control. It should be longer. And if it's not longer, you might be missing some things. Because life is full of things that we cannot control. But that is such the beauty in the I don't know. Think about it. Every single day is a new opportunity to create the life you want to live. Every single day is a new chance to surrender to I don't know. It's a new chance of possibilities, of opportunities, of endless limits, and it's so freaking exciting. I know. I'm probably, to some of the people that are like, no, it's not exciting. It's scary as hell. I'm probably annoying you right now with my excitement. But I hope by the end of today's episode, you feel as excited as I am. You have to understand that surrendering is not a failure. Like, understanding that you have no idea what's going to happen next is not failing. So let me rewind a little bit. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my career, what I wanted to do for school. And out of high school, I took some time off. I went traveling. I moved towns. I tried to get a new environment, meet new people, because I was trying to figure out so hard what I wanted to do in my life that I tried every trick in the book. You know, go traveling by yourself, move to a new city, meet new people, surround yourself with different things. Like, I tried everything that I could, and I was still unhappy. I was still not fulfilled, and I still had no idea where I wanted to go. And I had ideas. I had, maybe this or maybe that. And then I tried for those things, and I got rejected. I tried, and I got rejected again. And then I tried for something, and I got accepted. And I decided to pack up my stuff again, and I moved cities. And it was something that, you know, I didn't realize how badly I wanted it. I didn't realize that was my next step in life, and I didn't realize how amazing that next step was going to be for me. And that's where my mindset changed, because at the beginning of the year, I had no idea what was happening, and that made me feel like I was failing. It made me feel like I was, you know, that I was stupid. Like, how am I, like, you know, why don't I know what's next? Like, aren't I supposed to know this? Like, I thought that was something that I was supposed to know at even such a young age. I was supposed to know my next step. No. Newsflash, you're not supposed to know your next step. And, you know, maybe you know the baby steps, but do you really know what's going to happen next in your life? Probably not. And are you supposed to? At this point, I don't think so. I think it's a lot more wonderful to not know. I spent so much time stressing and overanalyzing and overthinking what I wanted out of life that I forgot to think about how I want to feel in life. I forgot to try to just take a step and really actually understand how I was feeling in my life at the time and you know, the things that were affecting me. And I forgot to just stand still and be present, because I was over stressing what was happening next, that I was actually missing out on some amazing things that were happening in my life. And it's really sad, actually, to think back, because I missed out on some really great moments in my life that I took for granted because I was too worried about what's next, or that this wasn't the right step. But there's one thing that I have learned in this past year, is that seriously, everything happens for a reason, and our life takes us to places that we are supposed to be. I went for a walk the other day, and I am living in this place that I had no idea I would ever live. I never, you know, that never crossed my mind 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago even. It never crossed my mind to be living here. But I went for a walk, and I took a step outside. Like, I was just like, wow, like, I am so grateful that life has led me here. Even though it's just a stopover, I do know that this isn't, you know, the place I'm going to be forever, but I am so grateful that life took me here at this moment, because I've learned so much, and I've learned things about different cultures and the environment and people and things about myself. And I never could have gained all this knowledge or growth by planning my life, by scheduling every single minute of my day. I never would have ended up here. But when I was actually able to let go of the scheduling and let go of the control, I realized that you just kind of have to trust life itself. And life is unfair, and it's kind of going to always be unfair. And that's just the honest truth. And once I was able to see that, yeah, life isn't fair sometimes, but sometimes those unfair moments actually turn into the most beautiful things that you could have ever imagined. And it took a lot for me to really understand that. And my biggest tip to understand those things is self-reflection, is just taking the time to think about your life and think about yourself and where you're at in the present moment. Step outside and take a look where you are. You know, even if you're still in the same hometown that you grew up in, or maybe you've moved complete cities, or whatever your case is, take a moment to just understand that life has led you here. And you're supposed to be here. And, you know, you may have taken some wrong turns. You may have made some mistakes. That's inevitable. That's going to happen. And that's okay, but all those wrong turns and mistakes, you've also made some really good choices in your life, and you've probably met some really great people. And you've probably also met some pretty nasty people that didn't treat you well. And we go through all these things in life, and we take all these wrong turns, but then we also take right turns, and we also meet amazing people. And all of these wrong turns and right turns and good people and bad people and good experiences and bad experiences lead us to this present moment. What has led you to this present moment listening to this podcast right now? What are you doing right now? Are you driving in your car or listening on your headphones when you're running on the treadmill or laying in bed maybe? I don't know what you're doing, but what has led you to this very present moment to listen to this podcast? And just appreciate even that. As simple as that is listening to this episode right now and thinking about your present moment right now. I hope it puts a smile on your face that life's actually pretty good. I have the capability. I'm healthy. I'm alive. I've made some bad choices, but I've also made some really good ones. I've met some great people, and I've experienced amazing things. And right now, I'm doing this, and this is where I'm at. And maybe you don't know what your next step is, and you probably don't know what your next step is because none of us really know what's going to happen next. We're not supposed to know the future, but we have to surrender to I don't know, or else we're always going to be anxious and stressed out and overwhelmed. And I found in my life, I was so overwhelmed every single day because I was trying to get the answers to every single thing. But we're not supposed to have the answers to all of life questions. We're not supposed to know what's going to happen tomorrow. We're not supposed to know, anything really. We're just supposed to live our lives and to try to be a good person. And on this podcast, I talk so much about creating the life you want to live. And what I think all that really entails is just being a good person and finding that happiness within yourself, right? It's doing things that make you happy and meeting people that make you happy and surrounding yourself of things and people and experiences that make you happy. And I think that all comes down to just being you. And loving yourself and loving your surroundings and loving your choices, whether they were bad choices or good choices. And understanding that life has led you here for a reason. You're supposed to be here, wherever you are. Maybe you're unhappy in your job, but maybe that's a huge learning curve for you. Maybe that's going to give you the motivation to finally go after something that you're passionate about. Maybe, your long-term boyfriend or girlfriend just broke up with you and you feel crushed and you don't know why. You just curse at the world. Why? I don't know what's next. Why? I thought that was my next step was, marrying that person or being with that person. And you're like, why? I don't understand what's next. I don't know what's next. But we're not supposed to understand what's next all the time. We're not supposed to have the answers to every question. Think about it. If we had the answers to all the life questions, life would be quite boring. As exciting as it is to think about, I would just want to know what's going to happen for my future. Yeah, don't we all sometimes? But that takes the fun out of it. That takes the exciting out of it, the thrill out of life, I find, because I don't know about you, but what makes me the happiest is actually is seeing personal growth in myself, is surrounding myself with people that I love and that love me unconditionally. And it's really just, seeing that I'm making progress and that I am here for a reason and understanding that. And for me, this whole year has been a huge learning curve of self-love is really what it has been. And it's understanding that I can't control everything and you can't control everything and you're not supposed to control everything. Sometimes we live in a situation for a very long time and then a sudden event overwhelms us and our path is completely changed. And how are we supposed to surrender to a whole new path? Well, by being in the present and reflecting on the good things in your life and the things that have made you happy. And I think that's the most important to understand. Okay, it's time for another break, but don't go anywhere. When we get back, I have lots more information to share with you. I hope you're getting excited to surrender to the I don't know, because just talking about it has made me more excited. So stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching.
Hey!
The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast. Okay, let's just jump right back into the last stretch of today's episode, talking about surrendering to I don't know. Now, I think for me personally at least, it's been my ego that has not let me surrender to I don't know, because I've always been that type of person that's been organized and know what's next. I have my agenda planned, my day planner. I am that girl. You need some organization. People come to me for that. And I think my pride, my ego I was scared of that getting crushed. I was scared of not being that girl that's so organized and has it all together, that I just didn't let myself, I didn't let myself surrender to I don't know. I just tried to overwhelm myself and plan absolutely every single next step. But you really need to surrender your ego and your pride and swallow it sometimes and just embrace I don't know. We have to, the thing is there's so much false knowing in our world. We think we know our next step, but we don't really know our next step until it happens. We don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow until tomorrow happens. We don't really know what career path we're going to go down until it happens. And yes, we go to school, we take education, and we do things that help lead us down to the career path that we want, or to the pathway that we want in our lives. But how many times have you heard of somebody going to school, taking a degree, going to school for 4 to 10 years or whatever the case is, and then not even doing anything with that degree? A lot of people. I bet you can at least name a couple people that come to your mind that have literally done a completely different path than what they originally planned, like what they originally went to school for. And that's because we never really know. We find something that we're passionate about, that we're interested in. It's like, yeah, I really want to do this. I'm going to go to school so I can gain more knowledge and educate myself on this subject, so I can be, I can be good at it, and I can teach it, or I can perform it well, or whatever the case is. And we do that, but then sometimes we go through it and goes, I don't really want this anymore. And then we find a different career path, or we find a different stream or something that makes us happier. And that doesn't mean that school or education is wasted. And I'm not just saying that because, no education is wasted. But, if you go through a series of your life where you thought you knew where you were supposed to be, like maybe you worked a job for 10 years straight, and that's what you thought your life was made out of, was that job. You live, breathe, ate your job, like that was it. But then all of a sudden 10 years have passed, and you realize that you're not in a healthy, happy mindset. And so you change your pathway, and you find something new that you're passionate about. It's something that really makes you happy, because we're always changing, we're always growing. And I think, I talk a lot about, we only grow when we're pushed outside of our comfort zone. I think we also grow when we surrender to I don't know, because it's the most vulnerable feeling that we can have. And being outside your comfort zone is vulnerable, right? It's scary, and we don't know what's happening next. So that's terrifying. And so is surrendering to I don't know, because we don't know what's happening. And it's the most vulnerable state that you can be in, because you're out of control. You don't have control of what's happening. And for a lot of people, the people that do really hold on to their day planners and their controlling and their organization, like I have my entire life, surrendering to I don't know has been the hardest thing I've done, but it's now also been one of the most beautiful things I've done, because I've actually learned to enjoy the little things in life, the things that I kept missing out on. Like, I was so focused on figuring out what I wanted that I didn't appreciate the people around me, my friends, my family. I didn't appreciate my quality time with them because it stressed me out. Or I felt jealous or envy to someone who was telling me, oh, I got accepted to school, or I'm doing this, I got this new job, or this. And I felt this inner bitterness inside of me because it seemed like they had it all figured out. But even the people that look like they have it all figured out, they don't have it all figured out. No one has it all figured out, because we're not supposed to have it all figured out. If we all had it figured out, life would be really boring. But life isn't boring. Life is wild. Life is crazy. Life is full of opportunities and adventure and so many good, exciting things. And it's just so crazy to me that we let ourselves be bottled down of not knowing. And yeah, I think we all do it. We all stress ourselves out with not knowing what's next instead of just embracing the moment. But another thing that I've learned this year is that the truth is found only in the absence of words. No, that sounds weird, but wisdom is silent. And I think that we really appreciate wisdom and appreciate life and appreciate knowledge when it's silent. When we appreciate the truth when it's silent, and when we're able to actually just be present and understand that. We have to ease into the peace of inner stillness, where, we live in such a busy world where being busy is idolized, right? We lie about being, busier than we actually are, because that's supposed to mean that we're successful if we're so busy, right? But are you busy for the right reasons? Are you just doing, these things constantly all the time because you're just trying to figure out your next step? Instead of actually enjoying life, there's so many beautiful things in life, and there's so many beautiful things I don't know. There's just, the thing is that we can actually find the beauty in I don't know when we stand still, when we're silent, when we're nothing, when we feel nothing, when we're able just to be present in ourselves, and just know yourself. And we have to have this self-awareness, this self-knowledge, and that takes time. And so surrendering to I don't know definitely takes time, but I hope that you take the time to try to be present in your moment and find your freedom and find the excitement in being still and letting your mind be still. I am not one that has ever let my mind be still, and I have a very hard time turning off my brain. But when I do, or when I'm able to grasp a little bit of stillness in my life, a little bit of calmness, that's when I really start to appreciate life itself, and I appreciate not knowing. Isn't it exciting to start a new job, or to meet new people, or to move to a new city? Because it's new, right? And it's something that you don't know, and it's adventurous because it's outside of your comfort zone, and you're adventuring this new realm of life, which is just exhilarating in my eyes. And maybe not everyone feels that way, and it's quite scary. But once you're able to really fully be aware of yourself and be happy while you're still, that's a huge thing, is just being happy standing still. And I never thought that I could be happy standing still. I always thought I had to be moving. Always figuring out what's next, always figuring out what my next step is, where I'm going to go next. And now I'm not saying that we shouldn't have ambition and drive and confidence, and we should always be going after things that we want, right? Always. But just because you know what you want and you have that ambition doesn't mean that you still can't surrender to I don't know. More often than times, a lot of the ambitious, adventurous, outgoing people are surrendering to I don't know, and we just don't even notice that, right? Because we look at them as saying that having all this ambition and drive and excitement for life, and we feel like they have it all figured out. The thing is that those people don't actually know their next step. But you know what they do know? Is themselves. And they know what they want. And they know that they want a meaningful and happy life. And that's what those people are going to do. They're going to be ambitious and driven to find that meaning for them, to find their why in life. So You don't have to know what's next. You don't have to know your next step or what you're going to do tomorrow or 5 years from now or 10 years from now. You really don't know, and you're never really going to have that answer. But have the ambition and the confidence and the drive and the excitement for life to not know your next step, but to be happy in the present moment, and be ambitious of happiness, and be driven to find true happiness, and to learn more about yourself and grow, because life is so short and we're never going to have all the answers. You're going to have to surrender to I don't know, whether you like it or you don't, whether you fully accept it or you don't. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. You have to. But when we release our mind from this habit of having to check all these boxes and know what's the next step, we are able to find inner peace and inner happiness. And I think that we're really, truly able to find what makes us happy and what's going to help us create the life that we want to live. It's going to be finding, the things that we're not sure of. It's finding the beauty in the I don't know, and just the beauty in the present moment. I've really learned things about myself and the things I enjoy about life by just surrendering to I don't know. We get so busy and caught up with finding what our next step is that we forget to enjoy the little things, or the things that matter to us, or the things that should matter. And we skip past them. We move past these things so quickly because we just want to know what's next. Slow down. Take a deep breath. Go for a walk outside. Count to 10 and count your blessings. And find the beauty in not knowing. You don't know what the next door is going to open up for you. You don't know if you're going to have to make that opportunity for yourself, or if that opportunity is going to open up for you. You don't know who you're going to meet tomorrow or the next day, or when you're going to fall in love or when you're not. You don't know when you're going to achieve a huge goal that you've been thinking about for your whole life. You don't know all these things because you're not supposed to. Life is full of endless opportunities. And that's what's so beautiful about it. Life is full of I don't knows, perhaps, and maybe so's. Find the beauty in those words. Find the beauty in not knowing. And I think the best way to do this is just being present in your moment and finding that reflection of, wow, look at how far I've come. Look at all the choices that I've made, whether they're bad or they're good. They've led me to this moment. And if you don't quite understand why you're in this moment, try to write some stuff down. Take a pencil and a piece of paper and just start writing things down that you're grateful for. I find that this is such an easy way to bring yourself to the present moment, is writing things that you're grateful for right in that moment. What are you grateful right now? Are you grateful that you have the capability to listen to this podcast? I'm sure grateful that I have this platform to share my passion and my love and my adventures and stories and advice and tips and tricks and research and all these things. I'm so, so grateful I'm able to do that. And I'm so grateful that you're here listening to it. And that's what I'm grateful in this present moment. And I feel so connected to you and to my work and to things that I'm passionate about, because I'm letting myself surrender to I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going to end up in 5 years, or even 1 year, or 6 months, or 2 days. I don't know. But what I do know is that if I focus on the present moment, I will find that inner happiness within myself. I'll find that inner peace, and I'll be able to enjoy life itself, because that's all you can do. Life isn't fair. Life isn't going to give you all the answers to all the questions, and it's not supposed to. And once you are able to understand that and appreciate that, that's when you really, really, really start creating the life you want to live. Okay? I really, really hope that this inspired you today to just live life in the moment, to be present, to understand that you're not supposed to know your next step, and that, just surrender to I don't know, perhaps, and maybe so. Surrender to those words and let yourself be happy for all the wrong and right choices that led you here today. Because life is short, and we have to be grateful for every single moment and every single time and every single obstacle that gets thrown at us. because we continue to pick ourselves up and we continue to surrender to I don't know. You've surrendered to I don't know a million times in your life, and you're going to continue to do it. You just have to accept it and find that inner happiness within the I don't know and the beauty within the I don't know. It's exciting. It's thrilling. I promise. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's episode of GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. This episode felt good to just talk about. It was just so good to get all this out there, and I really hope that it motivated you to continue to create the life you want and to find happiness in every day. Thank you so much for listening. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you're notified every single time there's a new episode. They come out every Monday and Thursday, I promise. If you follow and like us on social media, I also update those regularly. I would love to engage with you, start a conversation, ask me a question, let's chat. I would love it. As well as please don't forget to leave a 5-star review. It helps out a ton, and it makes me happy to read them and see them, so that is also greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for being here. Till next time, stay happy, stay positive, and find beauty in the I don't know. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find the show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast.